Welcome back to the Brownman Word, and we are finishing up the big chapter of Genesis, chapter 41. And so go back to Genesis 41 for the last time. We're going to finish this chapter. We're in verse 50. We're going to do verses 50 through 57, which is basically the introduction of the 7 years of famine. But there is something right before that, though. So, verse 50. Before the year of famine came, two sons were born to Joseph. So, uh, it gives you. So, the birth of Joseph's sons are basically 1 year before the 7 years of famine. So 6 years of abundance have come. The two sons have been born. It is most likely they're probably twins. That's my guess. It doesn't really seem like there is a difference between the two. I mean, it is possible, but it doesn't seem possible. Like so, my thing is it's probably twins, twin boys, but they were born to Joseph and Asenath. But it's interesting that they were born the last year of abundance. So it's kind of cool to see that the sons were born in times of abundance and not in the time of the famine. So it's basically like a blessing to Joseph, which is really, really cool. So, to end verse 50 there, Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore them to him. And I think why you repeat the what she did, the being connected to this priest of On, her father Potipharah, I think that is really the point of that is to show just how far Joseph has come. And again, it makes you wonder too if she converted to Judaism, or at least to following after Yahweh. So it makes you wonder. That's going to be one of the main questions I'll have in heaven, along with others, of course. Verse 51. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house. The name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. So basically, he names his boys after his life story, which is really, really cool to see. And it's not that he's digging at people, he's just saying, look, God has gotten me through all of this. And I think it's really important to see that. It's not, I have made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house. I have made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. No, he is giving credit to the Lord. So it's not out of spite that he's doing this, or out of mockery for his household that he's naming his boys the names that he gave them. It's after gratefulness and just thanks to the Lord. But now we get to the years of famine, and we'll see how Joseph reacts. Verse 53. The 7 years of plenty that occurred in the land of Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had said. There was famine in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. So, first off, I think it's important to point out that the dream and its interpretation do come true. I mean, you get to the point with Joseph that you think, of course, it comes true, but I want to make sure we don't lose the wonder of the fact that these dreams and their interpretations actually happened. They came true. The abundance lasted for 7 years, and the famine starts right away after the end of the 7 years of abundance and will last 7 years. And so it's really important to see that not only does Joseph wow Pharaoh with the interpretation and make him trust him, and in so doing, trust in the Lord in the meantime, right? But it's not just that, it's the fact that these things actually came to pass. And I think that's really, really important to see in the life of Joseph. It's not just somebody picking up things out of thin air and saying, "Here's what's going to happen." No, it actually happens. Um, and importantly, thankfully, Pharaoh puts his trust in Joseph and indirectly in the Lord, and because of that, is rewarded by it. Um, there was famine in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And I think it's important to see that this famine is not a regional famine. We're going to see this at the end of verse 57 as well. It is a vast famine. It is a huge problem. And yet, God goes forward and picks one country to provide for so many others because there was bread in the land of Egypt. Um, so yeah, that's really really interesting to see, and I think that should be encouraging for us as believers, that we believe in a God that goes forward before us and provides for us. That is really, really important to see, not just when it comes to the life of Joseph, but when it comes to our lives as followers of Jesus. The fact that we can put our trust in a God that goes before us, um, even in the midst of difficult situations. Really, really cool to see. Verse 55. When all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. What he says to you, do." So again, you see that trust that Pharaoh puts in Joseph because of his work ethic, yes, but also because of his connection with the Lord. And we see this all the time, or should see it all the time, when it comes to us as followers of Jesus in the workplace. Whether it's retail or whether it's food industry, the times I've had working in those positions, that's something that really sticks out. It's not just your work ethic, even though that's important, right? And that speaks volumes. It's the fact that you are doing that because of your connection to you being a follower of Jesus. And nobody second guessed who I was or who I follow and who I serve. Um, and the work ethic is just kind of like a bonus that gets you to the point where you can talk about who you follow in the workplace. So really, really interesting stuff there to see the trust that Pharaoh has in Joseph, which is kind of ironic because this guy was in prison for 2 years, and you would think that would be the last person that he would trust. But yeah, he does, and that's just the magnificence of the Lord, isn't it? So let's finish verse 56. So when the famine had spread over all the land, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Moreover, all the earth came to Egypt to Joseph to buy grain, because the famine was severe over all the earth. So it's not just the preparation time is not just to help Egypt and the Egyptians, but it's to help all the earth. I mean, so who knows how many countries came to Egypt for food, and everything that Joseph did and all the preparation that was done not only helps Egypt get through these 7 years of famine, but countless other countries and people as well. And so that is just a huge statement to this magnificent story, because obviously we see them helping uh, the Egyptians and Joseph's family, but it's important to see that it's also other countries and that are helped as well. I think that seems to be lost in this account, which is really quite remarkable. So with that, we are finally done with Genesis chapter 41, and on. So next week we are going to see the brothers of Joseph finally come to Egypt. So I will see you then. Thanks.